open area to be covered. Out early, Team Secret. And in general, this is obviously the first outing of this week's gameplay for 4 of our teams. They're going to be looking to make that mark. Predicting FaZe Clan, I feel like, in general, it's very hard to call this early on, so we'll have to wait and see what they're going to be able to do to impact into this lobby. But we're also looking at Genesis Dogma, DRS Gaming, and Team Secret into this map for their first entry play.
Yeah, I think there are a lot of teams in here that are coming in now, but there's a lot of teams we need to keep an eye on. I think they're obviously BC Swell. Not sure if they're in the lobby this time, I don't think so. But a team with only 5 points so far, you know, they didn't make it through those last 2 Super Weekends, so they're more likely not going to go through to that final, unfortunately. In fact, I would 100% say that they're not going through to the final. But look at our rankings at the moment. Cryptic's up there with 34 points, desperately trying to get their way into their 3rd Super Weekend, just barely brushing into that last one in our last league play into Super Weekend Week 2, and now looking to recreate that success here a little earlier on, which is much more favorable to you. You don't want that to be happening on your last Sandhawk, but it was very much down to the wire. I think it was 1 placement point between them and Nova. Godtony's on the bike though. Bye-bye.
Oh, wow. That was close. Lons was trying to run him down before he got to the bike behind the tree, but yeah, they're just going to send their separate ways. Not ideal to get the 3-wheeler. That's fairly ideal though. Genesis Dogma starting off well with a point.
I don't like going too harsh on some players, but I think we've been having discussions in the green room on Xavier. They need to get 1 more Super Weekend and have a good Super Weekend to make it happen. I'm actually quite a big fan of this team, but Rabbids has just been quite lacking for me, to be honest with you. I think there are some players on that team who are, in my opinion, very much Pmgc level teams towards the top side, level players, sorry. I think if I looked at them, I was looking at Lamborghini, for instance, as well as Frankie. But, you know, the team is just not being able to put up that same performance. I'm not sure if it's because Rabbids is not putting up that that extra front as a player, or as if he's playing as a more supportive role. But even here, just going down like that, it's very unideal.
Yeah, and with that, it brings Genesis Dogma up to 1/4 of the points total from the team just above them in the tables. In Stalwart, unfortunately, Deadeye guys who are playing in this game, Stalwart only have 3 points so far today. Over the 2 games, hopefully they'll be able to change that. There's not a lot you can do in that scenario. I feel like Xavier dropping on those vehicles and trying to get out wide. What do you change for that? I mean, maybe you have to alter your drop spot, but I feel like that maybe it wasn't as user error as maybe it could have been.
I would disagree, John. I would 100% disagree with that situation.
Right.
I'll tell you why. Because I think that you have the right idea of it, that Xavier's drop spot there is not in any terms of user error. What is a user error, though, is understanding that Genesis Dogma was playing that Super Weekend and had 15 games of free reign over towards Lipovka, Milta, and Prison. I think you're coming into this league play, you're playing against Genesis Dogma now, you should know that a team that's doing that well is going to be confident beyond belief. And the amount of control they're going to be having over that side of the map is going to be ridiculous at this point. So I think Xavier need to take that into account, to be honest with you. Playing so close to one of the best teams in the lobby, I think in that situation, you either all drop Lipovka or you drop a Lipovka mansion split, and you don't even dare go down towards shelter or prison area. You stay out of the way of Genesis Dogma. That's what I would say in that situation, and I feel like that is something that you could garner just from watching the Super Weekend and taking that just precautions.
Definitely potential. I mean, I feel like that's quite a good dive into potentially the theory crafting behind that drop spot. But either way, Xavier lose a player early on. In the circle, moving out to the eastern side means the Infinity are going to have to cross their bridge. Choose your poison, though. Tongjabao holding that western bridge, Genesis Dogma near to the eastern bridge, and probably the team that you'd run into if you wanted to cross that. Blanky, you looking at either of those 2 options and thinking this one's better than that one? Tongjabao maybe not used to holding that western bridge. We normally see it as either reject or 628, or is that eastern bridge just a better bet overall?
I think for this game, Genesis Dogma can, again, it's crazy to say this, but I will say that Genesis Dogma is one of these teams that loves to manipulate other teams in the lobby. They're like the grand puppeteer of the Pmgc so far, and I think that Eastern Bridge is probably more dangerous than this Western side. And the Infinity, they've had a lot of practice getting over the Western side. I would say that's probably the better approach for them. Tongjabao, like you said, they've not had a load of practice holding out this bridge camp, and I think that the Infinity, for the amount of times we've had to cross this and come into contact with 628 early. This side is probably much easier to go through than it is to go through Genesis Dogma. And if the Infinity have been doing their homework, which I imagine they have been doing, they keep coming to me after class, and I keep grading them 100 out of 100, just like Jason with his The Infinity prediction every single time on Death, which in my opinion is just genius. I'll see what happens though. They might get over the eastern side, but I doubt it, especially with that circle heading over towards the east as well. Genesis Dogma can stick around Milta for a long, long time, whereas it's on the onus of Pmgc about to move instead.
Definitely necessary to shift away, so could not stay there for as long as we've seen those bridge camps go for in the past. But the Infinity is only one team, and there's plenty of others in this lobby who need to make their way in. Obviously, the first entry from Team Secret, currently playing from Pmgc Stalber split, and at the moment, their position actually doesn't look too bad. They've got a lot of rotational paths available to them. In the future, down that eastern coast, they can even get in there and try and sneak across some bridges if it goes out to the west, if they so choose. And I feel like at the moment, Team Secret are in a pretty decent spot to be getting on with.
Yeah, I think that, to be honest with you, I think there's only one other team that I can remember that plays this spot, and I don't even remember their name, to be honest with you, because I don't see it very often. But I think the Pmgc Stalber split is something you can definitely play, and it gives you advantage in terms of like information gathering earlier on with the elevation that provides you in that location. You have to go for a grand split though, because you can't all sit on Stalber, but there's not enough control given to you. I do think it does cause some problems towards the later part of the game, and there was that one time that we saw Team Secret absolutely blasting when they flew down to Rozhok and quickly took up position, and that's the Team Secret I'm used to, and I do think that sometimes they can be quite hesitant. I think that started to come into play a little bit more recently. Obviously, this is their first game of the day, so I'd like to see what they can do here on Erangel. And again, if anything to go by, the first match of Team Secret is nothing to kind of base the rest of the performance on, because they can have a very, very good first game and then just completely plummet for the rest of the league play, or have a very, very bad first league play, game and then just completely rock it out of control after the rest of the league play. It's hard to determine what Team Secret's going to do, and I think they are a little bit of a flaky team sometimes. I'd like to see that change.
They're maybe a little bit more volatile, I think, is what you're getting at, right? Like they have really high highs, but low lows as well, fairly consistently. Yeah. You know, sometimes they're popping off, getting all the defeats in the lobby, and
yeah, they get
really just
all
giving
the defeats, bro.
Really just giving it, but
yeah,
then
they
sometimes
give it big time.
Sometimes they're the ones getting defeated, you know.
It's hard to. It's hard to analyze sometimes with a team like that, and I think it's even harder when they play up towards Pmgc, when there is awkward rotational paths for them, especially with so many teams playing over towards this eastern side. It's very much a case of find some landmass, grab it, and then have to work your way through, as opposed to looking at Genesis Dogma, who when BTR in the lobby, they control all the way down to Milta. They have a very clean time of it coming up towards that southeast side. It's difficult to do, and I think that Team Secret have put themselves in this rough spot. But I think it's just a place that they're comfortable playing with, and that's fine. If that's how they want to go, it just needs to change in terms of that volatility, like you say, John. Can't continue like this.
Northeastern side, we'll see if they can assuage their volatile results, and in short form tournaments, it's even worse. I mean, to be fair, in longer form formats, when you're playing more matches, volatility is fine, because expected value of your play still remains about the same, because you have a large enough sample size. It tends towards that average. But yeah, it's 8 game sets that really do not play well for it. Cheeky little spray down there for Fabian. Looks like he's going to pick up 1, pick up 2 defeats for himself as well. And Down1 Gaming, 2 points.
Yeah, easy stuff for them. We'll pick up some good points. I think Down1 Gaming really on the cusp of dropping out from this tournament, to be honest with you. This next Super Weekend is super important for them. We see some good things from them, but it says a lot when their highlight moment is literally having a snake in the grass stealing a chicken dinner from a team. That, to me, says a lot. I think that's been their biggest moments. And yes, it was super cool, but at the end of the day, it was a robbery, right? It wasn't something that was deserved in that situation. Not to say that Sung didn't play it out perfectly in those final moments. Let's go back down to the Infinity, though. The theft. Yeah, we don't like theft. Let's go down to the Infinity really quickly, because they have gone to the Eastern Bridge. And you know what? I'm okay with this change. I think that, you know, given everything, the Western side, if it played out normally, maybe that's the one they go to. But with this shift and understanding that BTR are in the lobby and Genesis Dogma are likely to move, that eastern side is actually quite cleared up, and I personally will take it back. This is probably the better play. I think that Pubg personally have stayed out in the blue for far too long on that western bridge, and I don't know how the INFINITYs predicted this, but it's a great predict, and that is why I'm not a pro player, and these guys are, because they are insane at understanding these other teams, and I can only learn from that.
I mean, we can only hope, right? I mean, there's a reason that we're not in there earning the big prize pool bucks. Otherwise, maybe I'd give it a go. But no, I'm content with just talking about it and criticizing when I can see something that's going wrong with my overview and entire knowledge of the entire game. You know?
Exactly. We're almost omnipresent in this match. So we're everywhere. We're in the vehicles. We're in your back seats. You can't get rid of us.
It's impossible. I'm like a bad smell.
Yeah. Even if you got 4 players in that car, don't worry. I'm in the boot.
Booting about. Genesis Dogma, shots over towards Xavier. They're not going to leave him alone, Blank. I mean, it looked like they were just going to take one and say, you know what, you guys, it's fine. But they're back at loggerheads. Lamborghini spotted on the hillside. Daybot gonna lean on out. Not quite landing the shots to find it.
I do feel sorry for Xavier in a way, because if we go all the way back to Super Weekend 1, if you remember that, John, Miramar and Erangel were always rough for Xavier, because Genesis Dogma would just toy with them the entire game, just slowly cropping away the numbers from that team, and that's pretty much happening again here. And it's very similar for them. For Genesis Dogma to quickly switch on a dime and just go immediately back to that playstyle with Xavier in the lobby, again, really does speak to me that they are just this manipulator. I really do like it. They have a very good understanding of all the other teams' lobby. But again, I want to be able to talk to you guys about discussions we've been having in the back, in our own time. I'd love to hear your thoughts as well. Drop them in the chat. Maybe we'll read them later. But honestly, for us, we're thinking that Genesis Dogma, they're not that top dog. Yeah. If we pitted them 4v4 versus Stalwart, I would assume that Stalwart would win that match. I think that Genesis Dogma just does have a very different playstyle, which is about gathering as much points as possible, whilst, slowly poisoning those other teams within the lobby to the point where they're in the best position. Because Genesis Dogma, their best case scenario versus Stalwart is going into a 4v2 versus them, which is something they can easily make happen towards the end of the match. And that's what I really like about them. They always swing the odds in their favor.
Moving out to the west, it's a hard shift, Blank, and everybody's moving towards the field between Pmgc and School. Looks like we're having central circles today. 4 rivals, pretty close to DRS, but they only need 2 players strong. Both in the same buggy as well, so dangerous times for the 4 rivals and their fans as well out there.
Looking at Nova, coming off that Erangel, that Miramar, sorry, with 14 points. Looking pretty good so far. I think that this is a team that desperately needs to make into that 3rd Super Weekend. In fact, they do need to make it in. So at 126 points, need around about another 80 or so to see themselves at least a little bit safe to get into the finals. Ooh. Nice nade goes through onto DRS. Nima hits the floor.
Gyalzen's position's entirely known. That should be cooked perfectly, but not finding the damage. It looked like maybe it was going to hit, but no. Another one sent over the top as well, and Gyalzen has to be worried. Spray underneath, but not landing. Somehow he's just dodging around this damage. Finally a bullet lands, but the rest of DRS up the top, they've crested that ridge. They have those sight lines, and Booms is suppressed now.
Again, another nade goes through. Needs to get it behind that car. How? It's almost directly on him, but Gyalzen managed to dash away, but more nades are in hand for Booms. Throws another one. This is great understanding of this fight. Finally does go down. Now DRS down to just 2 players remaining, with Genesis Dogma still sat at 4.
In the meantime, Team Secret taking on the Infinity. Actually, looks like they're going to give up Kid there and leave away with the 2 they have. Res is available for the Infinity. And look, Godtuddy, yeah, Godtuddy's just going to finish this one out. Should be pretty good for them, but they're going to have to push up north. They've got the Pmgc Fields in their way. Tongjabao in those long houses, Blank, on the east side of Pmgc Fields that we saw that bloodbath come through on last time.
Yeah, Kid will be defeated now, so he's down and out. DRS, though, they've looked for a location to hold, but Genesis Dogma, they don't want anyone at their back, so they're looking to crest into this. Knowing that they've shunted Xavier away from the position, they're down to 3. Again, it's all about that manipulation. Genesis Dogma now can take this fight freely, knowing that the eastern side is fairly clear. Again, this is a great fight. They're looking to finish it up. They'd love to get rid of all the players. There goes in the window.
It was a smoke,
Again,
maybe.
It's just smokes everywhere.
Genesis Dogma pushing in 2 players. The DRS on the hold. AJ still healthy enough to take a fight. For now, anyway, Genesis Dogma want to push in, and it's 1-for-1 on the trade. Satar's low. Naturally, 2 of the players from Genesis Dogma have gone down here, so now just 2 players standing, 1 versus 2. Mafia Ninja out wide, wants to be the savior to swing on these kills, but out pushes Daybot, and it's the backstab coming in. Genesis Dogma stay alive, and 2 more defeats to add to their tally, up to 5.
Yeah, great nade coming through from AJ to start that fight off. Unfortunately, Mafia Ninja, I don't think he was ready for that, and that's fair enough. You don't really expect AJ to hit that massive grenade when you're not in position to take it. Pmgc about right on the edge of the field of Pmgc at the moment, trying to take fights over towards everyone else. This is nice. So we've got the fields, we've got Potato Hill still in the lobby as well. So there's various little bit of features and scenery available to these teams to play this one out. It's a little bit awkward, but we do have these fields. We do have like the tank rallies over there that you can play with and gives you some free hard cover.
Drops downhill from 628. Controlling the potato right now, and a valuable position it is to have that sort of high ground, that position, that oversight of such an open part of the map. No one else really vying for it at the moment. Deadeye's guys maybe. Down one Kia, maybe looking to push down south, but at the moment, 628 looking fairly strong now.
Yeah, it's a good position, though 33Z needs to be careful he doesn't get backstabbed by Genesis Dogma. I imagine they'll move from that position at some point. There's a problem with 628 a lot of times is they'll take these very aggressive splits. I kind of expect one guy to hold down something that realistically you should have 2 or 3 people holding. I will say it's one of their flaws, but honestly, because they are such a strong team, they can make it happen. Paraboy has been on an absolute tear this entire tournament. Unfortunately, the rest of the team slightly letting him down, I would say. You know, me and Claris, you know, we're always talking about how Paraboy just got these ridiculous numbers, whereas the rest of the team just looking a little bit lacking at the moment. But at least Paraboy's back to form, and that's what everyone's happy about.
And 14 points so far. If they can keep up that track record, they might just be able to get into this next Super Weekend, but we know it's all swings and roundabouts. 4 rivals eliminated in the meantime. Infinity on the south side swinging down. This is the 2 remaining players from Team Secret that managed to escape from the last fight. Fredo and iShots. Infinity maybe having their sights set on this position, but I feel like they just want to keep on this ridge line.
Yeah, the Infinity don't really need to move too much at the moment. The next circle is probably where they're going to think about where do we go next, because there are so many features within this circle. It's difficult to make a decision right now. You know, Potato Hill could be the next position of contest, could be over towards the field side. It is difficult. Right now, Infinity have a fairly safe spot that looks downhill. It's a good place to be to decide where you want to be next.
So close to cresting that ridge for the Infinity, but not quite finding the angles. Lons dominating the open fields here. Managed to get a shot over towards Cryptics, but they're in this next circle, Blank, and they don't have to move. They can stay on this hard cover. The difficulty would come on that next maneuver for those teams out in the field.
Yeah, look at this though. Genesis Dogma, they moved to the backside of Potato Hill. 33Z has left at this point, hearing those vehicles. And that's a smart move, you know. They don't have to hold that position, but at least they now have a little bit of information that there is a team behind them. This is what I'm talking about. You get that move over towards Potato Hill, and now you need to change position. Jimmy goes down for Nova. Still have Paraboy out in the blue, looking to crest that backside of Potato Hill.
Genesis Dogma even further back behind it, so potential tricky territory there. The Infinity, I think they spotted Team Secret down here, or maybe not actually. I'm not entirely sure if they're aware of this. Yeah, look at that. Mela has eyes on Uzi, starting to pop those nades down. The suppression's there. Paraboy, Dream Dead, out in 13th, going down low with a low point count as well, sticking on 14 points. The Infinity, I don't think they want to push this. They're just going to wait this one out with Circle Shift.
It's kind of hard though, because you almost have to push this side of the map and remove Team Secret, because ideal rotational path would be over towards this eastern side. You don't want to have to rotate through the fields on the west. You're going to have to deal with DXavier in the future as well. You could move up to Damwon Gaming's position just underneath Potato Hill. Again, it's still dangerous. Enigma Galaxy flying up to 628's position. They have got a knock already.
Ooh, there's an opening. The door has been left ajar, and they just need to push their way through. Shoulder to it, force first. Sunan on the off angle, though, might be able to swing out on the side. And look at Junie's position as well for down one. If they spot Enigma Galaxy here, it could be curtains. El Chapo, not so lucky. Try and move through. Cryptics really suffering. This is the open ground move that I said would be so difficult for them, Blank, and they're getting cut down, eliminated.
Not good stuff. FaZe also up on this hillside now. A lot of these teams looking for any area of ingress. FaZe currently outside of the circle. Blue pushing in. 6 to 8 in their sights.
Looking for more as well. MR5 does fall down there, but the Infinity still pushing in from the south side. Enigma Galaxy, I don't know how they've managed to hold on to this hillside, but it's gone well for them. They've popped those smokes. It's temporary cover, but they know the teams behind them have to push. That is excellent use of tempo there from Enigma Galaxy to play on this northwestern side. FaZe will have to move through them, but they've got bigger fish to fry in the Sharks behind them. MS Chonburi finally going down.
This is the issue if you're a FaZe moving up to this hillside. So if you go first, you've got those teams behind you to worry about. But FaZe deal with them handily. Now looking over towards Enigma Galaxy's position. Get a nasty defeat over there onto Ralph. That's Freak alive.
Actually getting some decent damage, but 6 to 8 are suppressing this position as well. FaZe getting guarded out by 2. They've managed to shuffle their way in towards this circle. Fighting rages on. Genesis Dogma, they've seen Team Secret, but Infinity, they've seen Tong Jabal moving forwards. It's God Tunny leading the charge in towards the representatives from PEL. Tong Jabal move in to get the back up to the teammate. They want to keep 4 alive. They want to move in as a single unit to this next circle.
Yeah, having 4 for the Infinity is so important at this stage of the game, especially when you're right on the backside of this circle. It moves clearer up towards Potato Hill, and Genesis Dogma's got a fantastic position right behind them. Looking at that four-player man advantage with players on either side, they're gathering so much information, they don't have to fight. This was so cheeky from them. And they remember, they got rid of all those teams on the eastern side, which allowed them to make this play. It is really good stuff from them so far. They will have sightlines down towards Xavier. But Team Secret, again, it's that rotational path from Kameshi that kind of comes back to bite them because they're forced to rotate down towards that east and then further east again because they don't have any priority within the circle on that northeast side in the first place.
Oof. 11 elims for the Infinity so far. They have 3 players alive and they're looking for more. Mela picks it up to 12. Those defeats just keep on racking up, but finally, they might have met their match. Only Logan standing. Spots Lons, gets the spray, and Tong Jabal, they get eliminated as well. Okay, looking for the res potentially, but no, there's no way you get any further than that. 13 defeats there, blank. That is a hefty points total for the Infinity.
Yeah, it's very fat, but now they go out finally with Mela going down and Logan being taken down by Satar. Again, this is what I'm talking about. Genesis Dogma, they don't want a 4v4, they'd rather take that 4v1. And if they can go for that anytime they can by just causing chaos on the backside of the circle, they will. I'm going to continue wrapping this back because honestly, the Komodo dragons, they bite and they follow. And eventually you will become prey.
Run them down. Dread it, hide from it. They are inevitable. Controlling the majority of the circle right now. They're going to snap anyone who stands up to them. But 6 to 8, they've given ground here, blank.
They have given ground. Just a little bit. They've got to deny that space, though. I mean, they know that FaZe has controlled a lot of this area, so they're going to go into that 4-man split with the lineup. This is really good. There's not really any cover here, but Vintorez, if he can get at least 1 knock here onto 6 to 8, they can flood over the top of the hillside.
Quite seeing those pixels. I think he... I'm not sure if he spotted Dao. He definitely spotted Daoshi now. Goes in for the shots, but a really prescient fallback there for Daoshi to get back into safety as Vintorez goes for a different challenge instead onto Sunan. And there's backup from the rest of FaZe, but 2 of them have fallen down. 6 to 8 struggling, though, to hold this out fully. MR5 spots 33Z and Yu Yang, having already gotten knocked, leaves 1 player for FaZe standing, but none for 6 to 8. Elimination, 5th place.
Fantastic stuff from FaZe. I mean, that's not an easy push to make there. Nice name from Satar. We'll take that Lamborghini from Xavier. Now, Genesis Dogma can start to move up. They surely must have heard that fight between 6 to 8 as well as FaZe. Fortunately, they're giving them time to get those players back up again, but I think Genesis Dogma are worried about Xavier once again. They want to control the entirety of this circle. It moves down towards them on that south side. Just grand stuff so far.
Genesis Dogma should know that they've got maybe 30 seconds after the end of that fight for 6 to 8 and FaZe to have a look at these other teams and then fall back to deal with it. They have such a commanding control over this circle. And it's not only that, Enigma Galaxy are looking out there. Yet again, last standing for FaZe. And there's the flushes coming through as well. 1 player more And up the hill they have to crawl. Genesis Dogma with 4 alive. Daybot down, 9 defeats on the board. Blank. This is just impeccably played from Genesis Dogma.
Yeah, even from the start of the game, that first knock onto Rabbiz, they started to move further towards the beginning of the circle from just that. Like, it was just the beginning of an end here for Genesis Dogma, and it's so wonderful the way they play it. Hamodi goes down, Freak wetting in the grass, Frankie out far side, FaZe looking limited, and the 4 players from Genesis Dogma just making a mockery of this circle right now.
God, they are just dominating. Brilliant fashion here. Genesis Dogma, they slide in the back and they get those shots done. Freak finds one spray down but won't find any more. The blue zone too much to handle. MR5 ladders up to second place for FaZe. The prediction not quite there, but either way, MR5 now. I mean, he has got a good angle here, Blank, and they are lining up somewhat. The question is, do they know where he is? It's all to play for here, but Genesis Dogma have every advantage. Nikhil going in, going low, but it's only a matter of time. Genesis Dogma dominate. Nobody stands up to them on Potato.